Okay, so let's see how we can install MySQL database. You have to download MySQL installer community version. Here you have to select complete setup. Here you have to select full setup. Next, and then there are several uh, you can say bundles we have server, workbench, shell, router documentation, and some samples which have predefined tables and databases. The mandatory is the server, rest all the optional. If your machine is not capable, and if you feel like your machine is running slow, then you can uninstall rest of the things. You just need a server. Here I am installing all the packages, and here there is an error in the documentation section, but I will keep it installing after all other packages gets installed. I will just go to back and it will automatically get downloaded again. So my server is still installing. Okay, so all are done. Now let's go to back so that it can download documentation part as well. Back and next. Now it is showing that ready to download. So now it will again download only the documentation part. Rest all is already downloaded and it is ready to install. Okay, so let's go to next. All are ready to install. Execute. Now it is installing all the downloaded files. Okay, so my all the server, workbench, router, documentation, everything is installed successfully. Here you need to take care of this port number. If you have already installed some other SQL databases, for example you have already installed XAMPP, then here you need to change this port number. But for now I'm skipping this part. You also need to keep the same port number, and this is also important part. If you don't remember the password, then it is very difficult for you to reset the password of SQL database. Okay, so I'm keeping it as a root password, and username is by default root. Okay, from here we can add other users as well. So let's go to next. Make sure that you remember this password, or else you won't be able to log in to your MySQL database. This is the most common error that people do. Keep everything as same, keep everything same as it is, and make sure that your start to MySQL service is marked. If this is not marked, then every time you need to go to the services, and from the services you have to activate, or you can say the start, you have to start manually services. This can also affect your performance. So if your machine is running slow, then you can disable this mark. Okay, but here I am check marking this so that I don't go to manually services and start the MySQL AD service. Okay, so this will automatically start whenever I log into my computer. I'm not able to find my SQL services because currently my software is not successfully installed. It is still under process, so I may not be able to find this over here. But once the installation gets completed, it will be visible over here named as MySQL AD, and you have to press on the start the service. Without this, your MySQL database may not work. So I'm installing, completing the process. Okay, next. Everything same as it is. It is doing some configuration steps, initializing the database. Okay, so it's done starting the server. Okay, configuration is successful. Finish. Next. Keep everything same as it is. Finish. Okay, next. So type your password over here and check if your password is correct. It will connect and make a connection. Okay, execute. It is running some scripts. Okay, successful. Finish. So let's close this. It will start the shell after startup. Okay, so shell is started. We don't need this. So now is there any way so that we can verify that our MySQL is installed or not? So first you have to check whether the softwares are installed or not. Search for the MySQL. If you see Workbench, if you see Shell or any software MySQL, then the software is successfully installed. But now go to the command prompt and check whether the path is set up or not. To check the path, you can open command prompt or you can open this terminal from the PyCharm ID as well. So if you write MySQL -u and your username, currently it is root, and p for password, and currently it is saying that MySQL is not recognized. That means it is saying that MySQL is not installed, but here we can find the MySQL workbenches and shells. So what's the problem? The problem is we have not set up the bin folder. This specifies where our software is installed. So we have to go to this my PC, and it is generally located in C drive program files. But first I think okay, go to C files, program files, MySQL, and go to the server, go to bin, then copy this path, Control C, and search for the environment variable. Okay, and you have to paste in both this user variable and in system variable as well, and make sure that you do not change any other settings, or else your software may not work, or it may possible that your window get crashed. Okay, so don't change any other paths, just paste in the path, user, and system variable, create new. Okay, so Control V to paste it. So now my system knows where my SQL servers is located. Okay, if it still doesn't locate, then restart your computer, because restart is the solution for all the IT problems. Okay, so okay, you have to close this IDE. It will not auto detect. For currently I am opening the terminal to check MySQL. Username is root, password is root RWT. Okay, it is saying that password. Okay, I think misspelled the password, root. Okay, now so if you see this message, then your MySQL is ready to use. It is successfully installed. So we have installed PyCharm, we have installed library called as MySQL connector Python, not MySQL connector. And now you can also find in the services named as MySQL 80. It is currently started by default, or else you need to start manually from this option. Okay, so close everything. We also install Python interpreter as well. So everything is working fine over here. So this is the code which I had written to check whether my SQL database is connected or not. I think it may not work. I need to restart my IDE, but yeah, it's not working. Let me open new terminal, MySQL root and password. Okay, so I need to restart my ID. Okay, but I can check for the connection whether it is connected to the database or not. So let's see whether this condition executes. If it returns true, that means my connection is successful. Okay, so let's test. Okay, my connection is successful. That means my database is integrated successfully. If you are facing any issue in setting path, so watch this video again. You might have skipped something in the video, and in the terminal also I'm able to find MySQL. Okay, everything is working fine. Show databases, yes, these are the databases which is by default we get. So that's all for how you can download IDE, how you can set up library, and how to resolve all the errors which you get. We also have a workbench. In the workbench, you can graphically see what are your databases, what are your table structures and schemas, all that. But we mostly don't use this. We use the terminal. Okay, so that's all about the installation part.